Hi there, everyone. Just for the record, yes, we do not have any music this week, only because I couldn't make a decision. So I decided that I would just go ahead and fly and see what happens there. Good evening, everyone. This is the evening drive home with NJ Evans, and I am NJ Evans. So let's begin this thought that I've had today. As a matter of fact, I've been having it for the last couple of weeks and decided that I would share it with you. Now, the opening line is this: I already know that I'm not for everybody, and everybody's not for me. But for those of you who can follow my thought patterns, welcome aboard. And for those of you who can't, welcome aboard anyway. Maybe there's something that you'll be able to engage in and have a discussion with. All right. From Lions Gate Portal to hurricanes building in the Atlantic Ocean to space weather satellites going offline and interstellar from the deep space entering into a visible position in our galaxy to birds, this is on PBS documentary, and the discovery of their intelligence to the disruption happening in the United States and across the globe. What is a woman to do? Enlightenment. What is penetrating my ear is the new school year 2025 for the children of most of the United States, tentatively, and the total disruption of the educational system as we know it. AI ChatGPT being introduced to those unable to defend themselves mentally. It seems to me more investigation towards the final outcome and whether or not this will be known as a beta test for clarity in education. It would be needed. So this is the direction that I wanted to go in with you. Okay? And I decided that we would travel that journey because there are things that we take for granted, and there are other things that really have some validity, they have some depth to them, and it would be nice if we understood some of it. Case in point, I always wonder why about certain things. As I understand from my research, we're looking at daycare centers from 0 to 5-year-old babies, so young people will be there in that domain, in an atmosphere where there's nothing familiar. Okay, 0 to 5 years of age. Now, I do know parents have to work and things along those lines, and some are working remotely and they need some assistance, somebody there to watch the babies and the young people. Yes, I understand all of that, but that's part of what's happening at this time. Believe it or not, that's almost returning back to the 50s. Believe it or not. Okay, first graders, generally between 5 and 6 years old. All right, and then we have 7 plus. And for those who are promoted into the fourth grade, then this can go on all the way up. Now, let me explain what I'm saying. There's this thing that I had started noticing. A child can repeat two particular grades, one in the fourth and one in the seventh or eighth. So I say you generally third, fourth. In order for you to get to the fourth grade, you've got to be able to pass the third grade. And once you get in the fourth grade, you have to be able to pass the fifth grade, into the fifth grade. Okay, so the criteria is for the fourth grade to pass, and the seventh grade to pass in order for you to be promoted to the next grade. Now, I'm not saying that you should not have this as a criteria. I'm simply saying why those particular grades, especially as things are happening. Now, this doesn't include AI at all. Okay, so let's look at something. In the past, many, many moons ago, these would be the grades where the students must perform to the best of their abilities. Otherwise, these children would be subjected to repeating that grade. Have you ever wondered, and I really mean this, have you ever wondered why those grades were selected? And I have some friends that we talk about certain things, and this is one of the things that was kind of nebulous to a few of them. But in my humble opinion, these are the grades that would cause the greatest impact emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally to one's self-esteem and their future outcome. Think about it for a second. Hypothetically, 0 to 9 years, formative years. 7 years old in certain institutions, learnings, that's the age of reasoning. You're responsible for everything that you do. For all those who are 25 and think that they're not, all right, you are, ever since you've been 7 years old. Now, in school, back to the first grader or younger. For the first time without family, friends to surround the child, they will be exposed to a new environment and where the familiarity is not present. Where is the feeling of protection? And why isn't that in existence? And the need to keep secrets is now going to start to be formulated because you have to protect yourself, you have to protect the environment that you're in because you don't know exactly the repercussions behind all of that. And I say that for a reason. And I'll talk about it later on. So these children are in a new environment alone. Who will be there to protect them and their impressionable minds? Or do we trust so much and believe these strange adults will protect, take good care of our future leaders, of our legacy, as well as the future thought leaders of the world? Why do I say that? Because that is more of a reality than not. I stand on personal first-hand experience, and I'll share that later. What's happening to the child being held back during this era? I'm talking about up until, I guess, May of this year. Anyway, how does this child, the same one that was left to fend for his or herself in the kindergarten, and then the first grade, and now the third or fourth grade, maintain passing grades needed in order to suppress the challenges of emotional criticism and the inner turmoil not having a protector? Now let's add the robots. The robots, AI, will be learning from the children and absorbing their emotional thought patterns and comprehending the mannerisms, the human being from early childhood straight through development era to 12 years of age, and more than likely going on beyond that particular point. And this will present an understanding to the AI as I understand it, as it appears to me. It'll give them more insight into the human mind, their movements, and so on and so forth. This is one-sided because right now, if we keep that framework, that means that the child isn't really learning that much, but the robot or the AI is. So 12 years of age is a very important time also. And I wanted to mention that because that brings in another era. That particular era that is coming on to the plateau is teenage life and the beginning of young adulthood, you could say. So, but the most important thing that I wanted to discuss right now is the fact that from 0 to, let's say, 7 years old, these young people, for the first time, are going to be exposed to robots in their classroom. And how exciting that might sound and be on one side of the fence. Yes, it is. But on another side, So it was just a thought I wanted to share with you. And I would love to know if you have anything that you want to say about it. Or maybe this has not dawned on you because school in some areas of the country, they start a little later. August, late August, early September 2025. Anyway, keep an eye on your child's brain, ChatGPT, under your supervision, and educate yourself and then comprehend how to keep your mind active and alert, and the child's, so they don't plummet, they don't fall from where they are. Okay? Take a listen and learn more about the fourth industrial revolution. Industrial revolution, the fourth one, because that's the one we're in, rather than placing your head in the sand. Like so many, I'm a baby boomer. Looks like so many baby boomers are doing, and some that are not. All right, they are doing this. I don't want to know. I'm not going to know. But this is something that's important because even a baby boomer, sometimes they have to step up to the plate and take care of some little person who needs their help, their grandchildren, great grands, who knows. But whatever that is, whoever it is that they have to assist, then they have to provide themselves with insight and how to find out, how to research and get information on AI in the educational unit and what are their rights, what aren't their rights. Talk to the teachers, the educators, and see what it is that you can do at home with your particular child. We're guardians for these children until they can reason and comprehend the complexities of life and the games people play, don't you think? I mean, that's what we had to learn, right? But at least we went through that process. So it's not going to be as blindsiding as it was when we went through it. Because I know I was blindsided a couple of times. All right, so I want you to know also that this came from what I was watching earlier today. I was watching a very interesting conversation on YouTube with this young gentleman. His name is Stephen Bartlett, and his particular podcast is The Diary of a CEO. He had two leading scientists that were there. Dr. Amen, and he's a brain health expert, and Dr. Terry Sechnowski. He's a neuralist scientist and the co-creator of the Boltzmann's machine. Look those up because I never even heard of that machine, the Boltzmann machine, until I was listening to this particular interview, which I thought was really, really captivating. Very interesting discussion. I suggest really strongly because they really break it down 1, 2, 3. And there are so many more that are trying to sugarcoat it and at least build an arsenal of an understanding, even if it's only a hypothetical understanding of what's taking place right there so that you can help protect the young person. When they talked about have a village to raise the children, that's no joke. We need that now for real. Remember to create the reality that you truly do desire and not one that you don't. Fear is not the answer. However, I feel knowing and education will help. So watch what you say, because that's going to create your reality, and watch what you think, because thoughts are things. Okay? So I can hear you now. What did you just say? What was that all about? Like I said in the beginning of this, I'm for some people, I'm not for everybody. But if you can follow where I'm going with this, I would love to hear from you. Send me a comment. Yeah, I really would, because this is very, very important for those little people. Because those little people are going where we are not. They're going beyond us, and all they need is a shield and a wall to protect them until they can stand up real strong in their own right of who they are and why they came into this dimension at this particular point in time. So let's help them to the best of our ability. You enjoy your evening. I thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for this moment. And as I said a few minutes ago, yes, I don't have the music, but I will have it. I have these two that I really like. We'll see how that works out. In the meantime, I am NJ Evans, and this is the Evening Drive Home. Travel safely. Ciao.